entire Amish family of 7 vanished from their Pennsylvania farm in 1992, leaving behind only a simple note about visiting relatives for the weekend, but they never returned 10 years later during a remembrance service. The community looks through old items and spots a shocking detail that everyone had missed, a clue that would finally expose what happened to them. The morning sun cast long shadows across the wooden floorboards of Levi Lapp's home in New Holland, Pennsylvania. It was a day that came every year, marked not by celebration but by solemn remembrance. 10 years. A full decade had passed since his brother Aaron, sister-in-law Miriam, and their 5 children, Eli, Michael, Sarah, Ruth, and little Daisy, had vanished without explanation. Beyond a simple note left on their kitchen table, Levi adjusted one of the wooden chairs that had replaced his usual living room furniture. The transformation of his home for today's service had begun before dawn, where his comfortable sofa usually sat. Neat rows of simple chairs now faced the front of the room. The coffee table had been moved to the barn, making space for the gathering that would soon fill his home. The service had begun at 8 o'clock sharp, with members of their old order Amish community filing in quietly, men in their black suits and broad-brimmed hats, women in their prayer coverings and dark dresses. For 2 hours they had prayed, sung hymns in Pennsylvania, Dutch, and shared memories of the Lapp family minister. Yodar had spoken eloquently about faith in times of trial, about accepting God's will even when understanding eluded them. Now, as the clock on the mantel showed past 10, the formal service had concluded. Most of the congregation had departed, returning to their farms and daily duties. Only a small circle remained close: family, dear friends, and a few community elders who had known Aaron since childhood. Levi looked around the diminished gathering. His cousins, Samuel and Rebecca Bear, sat close together, Samuel's beard now showing grey. That hadn't been there 10 years ago. Mary Stoltzfus, who had been Miriam's closest friend, dabbed at her eyes with a white handkerchief. Old Joseph King, whose farm bordered Aaron's abandoned property, stared at his folded hands. "Shall we?" Levi asked softly, gesturing toward the kitchen table. They had moved to the center of the remaining chairs. The group drew closer, forming a tight circle. On the table lay an arrangement of precious artifacts, photographs, personal belongings, and at the very center, protected by a clear plastic sleeve, the note that had changed everything. Levi picked up the note with careful hands, though he had memorized every word years ago. Written in Aaron's careful script, it read, "Gone for the weekend visiting family for church matters. Will return Monday. Don't worry about the animals. Arranged for neighbor boys to help Aaron. Every year we read this." Mary said softly, "Every year I wonder what church matters could have taken them away so suddenly." "And which family?" Samuel added. "We are their family." The community checked with every relative, every connection in Ohio, Indiana, even up to Ontario. No one saw them. Esther reached for a photograph, one taken just days before the disappearance. It showed the whole family on their front porch: Aaron, tall and bearded in his straw hat, Miriam beside him, holding baby Daisy, the other children arranged by height, all smiling in their simple clothes. Behind them, laundry fluttered on the line. Such beautiful children. She whispered Eli would be 23 now, Michael 21, Sarah 19, Ruth 14, and little Daisy. Her voice broke. Daisy would be 10. Levi picked up the manila folder that contained copies of the police reports. The official investigation had been brief, hampered by the community's reluctance to involve outside authorities beyond the initial report. After a week of questioning neighbors and finding no signs of foul play, the case had been marked as a voluntary disappearance and eventually went cold. "We did what we thought best," Joseph King said, perhaps reading Levi's thoughts. "We are not a people who run to the English police with our troubles. We believed they would return. But they didn't." Rebecca said quietly, and now we gather each year wondering if we should have done more. Daniel Zuck, another community member, reached for one of the photos from the police file. He studied it intently, his brow furrowing. It was the same porch photograph Esther had been holding, but this was the official police copy, slightly larger and clearer. Levi, Daniel said slowly, your brother's family. They were planning to leave that morning for the weekend. Yes, that's what the note said. Levi replied, confused by the question why. Daniel turned the photograph toward the group and pointed at the laundry line visible in the background. Look here, fresh washing, hanging on the line. See how the clothes are still dark with moisture. At the bottom, this was taken in the morning, as you said. So Samuel asked, so why would Miriam do laundry on the morning they were leaving for the entire weekend? The clothes would be ruined by rain, eaten by bugs, faded by sun. No good Amish housewife would leave washing out for 3 days. The group leaned in closer, examining the photograph with new interest. Mary gasped softly, there is that a vest. It looks too bright to be plain clothing. Levi squinted at the photograph. Among the dark blues and blacks of typical Amish clothing hung something fluorescent yellow-green. His heart skipped as he recognized what it was. That's a police vest. Police. Esther's voice was sharp with surprise. Officer Brina, Levi said slowly, memory returning. Paul Brina. He was close with Aaron, helped our community, often fixed fences, assisted with barn raisings when he was off duty. A good Englishman who respected our ways. I remember him. Joseph nodded. Always polite, never pushed us to modernize. But why would his vest be in Miriam's washing? Levi studied the photograph more carefully. The vest was clearly visible now that they knew what to look for. The word police, partially visible on the bright fabric. I don't remember him ever getting it back, Levi said. After Aaron disappeared and the investigation ended, Officer Brina still came around, sometimes checking on us, on Mother. But I don't recall him asking about a vest. My Ribka. May she rest in peace. Levi continued, referring to his late wife, who had died 3 years prior. She packed away many of Aaron and Miriam's belongings after it became clear they weren't returning. Perhaps the vest is still with their things. Esther sat down the photograph. With trembling hands, perhaps we should speak to Officer Brina about this. It may mean nothing, but after 10 years, any small thing might help us understand. Mother, Levi said gently, what could he do now? It's been a decade. The English police put the case aside. Long ago we chose not to pursue it further ourselves, to accept God's will in this matter, but we never found peace with it, Mary interjected. We say we accept, but we gather each year because we cannot let go. Maybe God's will includes us finally seeking answers. I'll find the vest, Levi decided. If nothing else, I should return it to Officer Brina. It's only right. When I do, perhaps, I'll mention this observation about the laundry. See what he says. The group murmured agreement. They spent another half-hour looking through the remaining photographs and mementos. Aaron's favorite hymnal, Miriam's quilting thimble drawings. The children had made a corn husk doll that had belonged to Sarah. Each item was handled with reverence, passed from hand to hand, accompanied by a memory or a prayer. Finally, as the clock neared noon, the gathering began to disperse. Each family member and friend embraced Levi and Esther, murmuring words of comfort that had been repeated so many times they had worn smooth like river stones. We'll see you at church on Sunday, Samuel said, settling his black hat on his head. Thank you for hosting this year. Rebecca added, it means much to remember them in a home, not just the meeting house. It was Mother's idea, Levi said, glancing at Esther. She thought perhaps being here where Aaron spent so much time might bring us closer to understanding. One by one, the buggies rolled away down the gravel drive until only Levi and his mother remained. Esther began gathering the photographs and papers, her movements careful and deliberate. I'll help you put the furniture back, She offered no mother rest. "I'll take you home and handle this myself later." Levi went to the kitchen drawer. His fingers found the familiar weight of 2 brass keys on a simple ring. One for Aaron's house, one for the abandoned farmhouse on the separate parcel of land Aaron had owned. They felt cold in his palm. Unused for months, they walked to his buggy. One of the few concessions to the modern world their Ordinon allowed was that Levi kept a car for his furniture-making business. Levi helped her into the car, his own heart heavy with the weight of another year passed without answers. As they drove the short distance to his mother's small dortory house on the family property, he couldn't shake the image of that police vest hanging among his sister-in-laws, washing a bright, incongruous note in what should have been an ordinary morning a decade ago after dropping his mother at her small house. Levi decided to drive to Aaron's house right away. It only took him 10 minutes. Along the rural roads Levi had avoided coming here lately, the sight of the empty property never failed.